You know what I said? I just blame the parents. I was like, no, blame the parents. That's what, blame the parents. Oh, blame the parents. You'll see it stopping. And what's her name?
When I came to CRA yesterday, it was the drama out there.
Pauphin.
Sears.
No, it's not serious. It's the,
She was telling me. She said, you did
10, 20, like,
you did, you tried. That little girl, nigga say, so she turned around with her. I said, that's right. She's in the police car, like one was crunk and one wasn't. But she knew the police was there, and the girl took off the run. And she said, and the police are come arrest me now. You will not disrespect me. That's right. I keep up the good work. I can't forget that. But that needs.
or why? That's why I said, like, that's the part that people.
This must be a federal court case.
And if she did it, she should have. How to dis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they always did.
It's just,
Oh, that's where the. Oh, I see. So, so they're anticipating. Yes. What? Oh, oh, I see. Hmm. Okay.
you sound like my mom.
Hey, this is, this is- This, so you said. Oh, yes.
Good evening. Welcome to our regularly scheduled. Good evening. Welcome to our regularly scheduled commission meeting. The time is now 7:03. Today is January 24th, 2024. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Bass,
Here.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Here.
Commissioner Kelly,
Present.
Commissioner Williams,
Here.
Mayor Taylor.
Here. As we stand for our invocation led by Commissioner Bass, followed by our pledge of allegiance. Commissioner Bass.
Our Father who art in heaven, holy is your name. Father, we thank you. We thank you for life, strength, and health. We thank you for our community. We thank you, oh God, for the gift of life. May you continue to lead us, guide, and protect us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Our pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We're going to go into our awards, proclamations, and acknowledgements. And we have a special presentation by Commissioner Kelly, Light Up Opa-Locka Holiday Lights Contest winner. Commissioner Kelly, you have the floor.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I think, Smaya, one over here, right? Okay. If my colleagues would join me, I wasn't sure. So. Yeah, you pass that mic. Good evening to everyone. This is really the first in the city, the Light Up Opa-Locka, which was a effort to go around and see all of the beautiful homes in the city, Opa-Locka, that was decorated during the holiday season. I want to commend Parks and Recreation and also the Community Recreation Advisory Board and Chair Dennis. They were our judges. We have our winners. We had first, second, and third place. I believe our first place winners here, we're not going to read all the certificates, but it simply says, Opa-Locka, Certificate of Achievement, proudly presented to the Collier family. First place in the City of Opa-Locka Mayor Commission First Annual Light Up Opa-Locka Holiday Lights Contest. Come on up, Collier family. Yeah, that's y'all. Come on up here. The mayor has a vice mayor, Mayor, get the check to the vice mayor, get a ribbon and one more. I'm trying to have some of everybody here, but the mayor has the certificate. If someone will receive the ribbon, and the vice mayor has the first place $100 gift card. You got the money, and somebody has to get the ribbon. Yeah, oh, that is so cute. All right, now if y'all could just slide over a little bit so we can get this picture. These knees aren't working as well tonight. But I want to thank you all. If you had a chance to go by and see their house, it was decorated so beautiful in the city of Opa-Locka. And I again want to commend, and the chair just came in, I want to commend the Recreation Advisory Board for being our judges, but it was a beautifully lit home. Another round of applause. Thank you so much. Our second place, I don't believe it's here, or third place. We do have a second and third place winners who are not here. If they come in, Ms. Maya, we can at least acknowledge their names. As my colleagues are coming back up, I don't think they're here yet. But we have second place, the Espinoza family, $50 gift certificate, gift card. In third place, the Mora family. So let's round. Oh, Mora is here. Okay. Mora is here. All right. So quiet over there on the end. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh. Who got that money? Mr. Bass got the money. He gets it all. Look right ahead. All right, round of applause. Thank you so much. Is the other person here before we move? I'm not. Another round of applause. Thank you to my colleagues as well. Third place tonight.
All right, so our second place is here, Maya. Second place is here. We are getting our steps in. We are getting our steps in.
Yes. You can come on up. Second place, beautiful home here in the city of Opa-Locka. We have a gift card for you as well as a ribbon. And please look that way and get that picture taken. Oh, I'm good. Y'all know I ain't worried about the picture. I'm just I have enough pictures, but I appreciate it. Thank you again. Wonderful, beautiful home, beautiful home. Thank you again, Mr. Mayor, to my colleagues, and hopefully it's something that continue as part of our beautification efforts going forward throughout the holiday season. Those homes were really beautiful, and hopefully we can add even more on next year as you go forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No problem. Thank you, Commissioner Kelly, for spearheading that initiative. And next time, I'm like Commissioner Bass, we should have brought the pictures of the houses to the commission
Yeah.
meeting so we could see it. But next time, so we're getting ready to go. We have no consent agenda, so we can have the approval of tonight's agenda. Can I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass. Can I get a second on approval tonight? Second by Commissioner Kelly. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Irvin? Yes. Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Mayor Taylor?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Can I have the approval of the minutes, regular commission meeting minutes on January 10th?
Mr. Mayor?
Ma'am.
So the minutes for January 10th will be presented at the next regular commission meeting for approval.
Okay. All right. So no District 1 report. All right, we're going into our citizens forum. Madam Clerk, can you please state the rules and regulations for citizens forum?
Yes, good evening. City of Opa-Locka Commission meetings are held in person at the Opa-Locka Municipal Complex, City Commission Chambers, 780 Fisherman Street, 3rd floor, Opa-Locka, Florida. Members of the public wishing to address the commission may do so in person or virtually. Those persons wishing to participate virtually should register prior to the scheduled meeting time on the city's website at www.opalockafl.gov. When speaking before the commission, please make sure to give your full name and address for the record. There is a 3-minute time limit for public comments. Please adhere to the decorum policy, which is part of the commission meeting agenda. City commission meetings are aired through live stream at www.youtube.com/user/City of Opa-Locka And Mr. Mayor, at this time, I believe we do have one virtual public comment from Mr. Daniel Nunez.
Okay. Mr. Nunez, you have the floor. Are you on?
Yes, I'm on. Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Daniel Nunez. I'm a junior in high school and a part of Team Virtutum Populo at 15476 Northwest 77 Court, Suite 116, Miami Lakes, Florida. Virtutum Populo means power to the people in Latin and is a student-led 501 nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting civic engagement and community involvement among youth in Miami-Dade County. We have impacted over 2,500 students to date and have raised over 40 grand for civic education. Our latest student leadership program is Miami-Dade County Youth Governance Day, which will take place on April 10th, 2024. We need the city of Opa-Locka to help empower a student leader in your community. April 10th is a teacher planning day, and our goal is for a high school student to be mayor for a day in all of Miami-Dade County's 34 municipalities. Our organization takes care of collecting and screening applicants and putting students through a series of civic and career-ready workshops before the big day. Participation is very simple. We just need Opa-Locka to commit to hosting a student on April 10th as mayor for the day and allow them the opportunity to shadow city administration. Our team takes care of all other logistics, and we will work hand in hand with you to make this a success. We already have 12 confirmed cities, and we hope to make Opa-Locka number 13. Our team will follow up with an email tonight providing the informational guide and instructions to sign up. We hope we can count on you all to empower the next generation. Thank you for listening.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Citizens Forum is still open.
Good evening, Tarani Mitchell, 14225 Northwest 22nd Place. I received a call on yesterday from the city manager and others that was in the room with him on yesterday regarding the water bill. Also, I received an email responding back. Now, Mr. Manager, I sent the email prior to your call, Dave's requesting you to give me a call. And I figured, like always, the day before or the day of, I get a call. Me, I work just like you work. So I was requesting at that time via email that you call so we can have time to discuss and I can have the bills and so forth sent. Now, the email that was sent to me regarding the call back from the water department and so forth, I called on Tuesday morning to speak to someone regarding my water bill because I'm continuously receiving these water bills and I can't go on the water department and print them off. Now, I called the city hall and I was given a number to say, don't call this number, to call this number. And the number what I was given was actually the number on the bill. So I don't know if that number is here or is it in Miami-Dade County. Now, when I called the number, I got the young lady that normally answers the phone, sound like the young lady that works downstairs that speak to the customers when they come. When I spoke with the manager, I gave him the number and he wasn't familiar with the number. So he called, he told me to hold on the call. So he told me it was some entry-level customer service representative. What is that? I don't know. Because whether if it's entry level or not, she's still answering the phone for the city of Opa-Locka. So whether they're entry level or experienced, they should be able to answer our questions regarding our bills. Now, I have this letter that was also attached to your email, and you stated that sample letter. If you look at the email that was sent to me, it's the letter that I bought in here. And if you look at it, it has my name and my address on it. So it's not a sample letter. It's a letter that I turned into the city that some of us got. Now with the water bill, when I told you about the $5.95, I shouldn't have to go on Miami-Dade County to see what my bill is. How I found out about a bill, he's telling me all my bills was paid except December. Had I got a bill for December, it would have been paid as well. So he included that in the email. So if he could go on there, if you guys can go on there and pull it and see it, I should be able to get a bill in the mail. Now, I have all my bills. So prior to bills that they're sending, I'm getting a new bill. I can get a bill that tells me it's due on the 4th, and then I would get another one that's due on the 24th. This is why I keep saying, when is the due date? Mr. Manager, could I have a little more time?
Um.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes,
Okay, so I'm wondering when is my due date? So the email that was sent to me, it indicates on there that the read date's gonna fluctuate, but the bill is still due at the same time, according to the email that was get, that don't make sense. If you're gonna read this bill, so that means if you read the bill tomorrow and the bill is due on the 30th or whatever, I don't have the full time to make payment. So I went to try to print the bills off and it tells me not available. I can't print the bill. So I did bring tonight what I did have. And I do have, if they want to take a look at it, and I shouldn't, and nobody else should be charged late fees. And I want to know, had my meter been changed? They're saying yes, before I was told no. So you got constant changes in the meter reading, the days being the same that it's due. Also, you got meters that are not being read because you got constant bills. A person might get a bill, $6.41 every meter reading. So I asked the young lady downstairs when I spoke to her, when are we getting readers? She said, well, I'm gonna be honest with you. If they don't turn the paperwork in, whatever it is, if they don't turn it into us on time, you guys don't get a bill. Now, what that meant, I don't know. So we need to get on this billing system to see, because actually it's the same thing that's going on with Opa-Locka had it. I understand Miami-Dade County was hired. I understand Opa-Locka meter readers don't meet the reader. And he explained that to me, but that does not explain the questions I keep asking about the bill. I might get a $5 bill today. Next week, I'll get a $60, $70, $80 bill. Hope I'm not being paid for late fees, charged for late fees, because I didn't get a bill. So if anyone want to take a look at the bills that I have here, and then another thing, if they're saying it's being read, but I got bills here. This current reading here say estimate. So if they're reading it, why is it estimated? If they're reading it. So this is something I'm not going to let go, and we're going to keep bringing it. And I just need to get to the bottom of this, because you're getting one answer, and it's not only me. It's not only me. And it's sad. If you gave a contract to the Miami-Dade County, it should have been fixed. The issue should have been fixed. So we need to know what meters is changed. They say one side was, one side wasn't. And like I asked them, who determines who meters get read and who meters get read remotely? I don't care about nobody else. I want to know about mine. I don't want an estimate bill. I want to get what I use so I can pay for it. For me to go to get a $5 bill off, and then I get a bill 3-4 days later stating that I owe $5. If you had gave me the $5 bill, they would have been paid. So I need somebody to contact me. When I spoke to Mr. Ellis about it, he told me, oh, I just got off the phone with the upper heads. Okay, you got off the phone with the upper heads. It's not telling me nothing. That's not answering the question about these letters some of us got. And I get a card every time, and I don't need the cards. I need answers.
thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Citizens Forum is still open.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Brian Dennis, address 2140 York Street. What I'm trying to find out now is, because y'all seen the tree that fell on my car November the 16th, I'm trying to find out who I submit my request for payment to. That was a city tree. It was on city property. So who do I submit that bill to?
We'll get back to you and get the answer to you.
Yeah, that. I went from no payment to a payment. So, and while I'm at it, let me thank Officer Harborough for relieving me of my shop when I opened the door and saw that tree on my car that morning. And thank the chief for coming by with their concern. I really appreciate that. But I really need to know who I need to submit that bill to.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Citizens Forum is still open.
Good evening, Audrey Dominguez, 1147 Jan Avenue. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. I'll make my comments brief. In September, I believe we were here to speak about the budget. And I do recall coming to 2 meetings regarding the Avalon taxes. We have many residents that were here present. They came to speak about it. Now, I don't see any residents to speak about this that's on the agenda right now. Now, we're at the end of January, but we're here again. Now, what exactly happened? What does this mean? Did it mean that the city received less money or more money from the county? Now, the residents are a bit confused. I'm confused because I know I was here and it was voted on. So I'm just hoping that once this is brought, when they speak on it, that whoever's going to introduce it, that they can give a clear explanation as to why we're here again regarding the Avalon taxes, because I'm pretty sure I got text messages today that they didn't know about it. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Citizens Forum is still open. All right, Citizens Forum is closed. All right, so real quick, Madam Clerk, let's just reach out to Mr. Daniel Nunez to see what the city can do to participate in that initiative. As far as Ms. Mitchell's issue with the billing, Mr. Manager, I thought all of the meters were changed in the city to digital, no?
No, sir, it's a process. So there are some, I'd say about 90% of them are completed. Hers is a unique situation according to Miami-Dade County that we haven't had all the details from them. But in a meeting, it was myself, the Director of Public Works for the City of Opa-Locka, the Operations Manager for Public Works for the City of Opa-Locka, the Customer Service Head for Miami-Dade County for Water and Sewer Billing, and the Director for Water and Sewer, all looking at this account to try to resolve all of her issues.
All right, is there a billing schedule and because I wrote these questions that she asked, a billing schedule and a meter reader schedule that we can make readily available to our residents?
So as I shared, I do have an email where all of the questions except for all of the issues except for one that she brought tonight is resolved that I'd like to read for the record. But as she noted, the dates fluctuate for the reading, but the date for payment stays the same. So for example, if she has a billing cycle where her bill is due on the 31st of the month, they may read it on the 1st, they may read it on the 2nd, they may read it on the 3rd, but they get the information, they collect it. There were a couple discrepancies. The personnel downstairs are not employees of the City of Opa-Locka. They are employees of Miami-Dade County water billing department. So they don't report to the city. And we did call them, we did make the phone call together. I told her she had this number off of her bill that someone also in the city gave to her. We called that number together and confirmed that that was Miami-Dade County that was given the information. She said someone on that call told her that they were waiting to get something, information so they could put the bill out. But as you all know, since 2018, we don't have any meter readers. So there is nothing for the City of Opa-Locka to collect on behalf of the county to provide to them information or otherwise.
So what's that process? How does that process look at the relationship between City of Opa-Locka and the county as it relates to our water bill?
So that is a contract that was negotiated before I arrived. I believe and the administration believe we should renegotiate that. They have total autonomy over our water billing cycle. And we've been fighting for some authority back. They're able to do pretty much everything except for a shut off without permission from the city.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
thank you. This is not a new issue. It's not a new issue. And I really came here to be calm tonight, but this goes back to when I got back on the commission. I had several residents come to meet me Monday. I reached out to the administration about this because we were hearing the same thing about numerous bills. And I said then, if you go back and look at the minutes in the meetings, we need to renegotiate or go back and look at the MOUs that we had with the county, not only for water, but also for our trash collection, our transfer station, and all of those MOUs, including code picking up trash because we have to pick up, but they get paid. Hadn't heard anything about it, no resolution really to it. And so it keeps coming up and it keeps getting pushed down the road. So I would hope that coming tonight, that, Mr. Mayor, my colleagues, we give some clear direction to look at all of those agreements. But in the meantime, what's really going on with proposal of reading it one day and your bill comes no matter what the reading is. And it's not new. That's the point I really want to make. It is not a new issue. So I know it takes 3 to pass something. So I guess I'll bring it back in legislation that we need to authorize the manager's office to look at both of those agreements, not just with the water and sewer, but with all those MOUs dealing with the trash pickup. Now, we did do something with the transfer because we're going to obviously get our own. So we had some negotiation on some of this in the MOUs. But even with code enforcement, they pick up, in residential, they get the money. We got to pick up in other areas. We got to pay the bill. And I've been saying this for a long time. It's not new. It's documented. So I would hope this commission would give a directive to look at all phases of those agreements because they were done some years ago, and all of us know why they were done because the city couldn't pick up its garbage and trash. We're way beyond that now, so we need to revisit it. And I've said that a while back. We need to revisit all of those agreements. So I hope we will do that. But in the meantime, as they come up, we will address them and get some resolution to the issues. And let me just say this also. I've had residents who say they've called and can't get any response as well. So, hopefully that'll be part of the discussion with the county in terms of getting information. I know it was mentioned here that we were going to work to maybe have someone from our staff who could ask simple questions or answer simple questions down in water and sewer. And that was a few months ago, but that didn't take place either. So I would hope going forward that occurs and we'll follow up and see how that goes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No problem. And I know, Mr. Manager, you said that the relationship between the city and the county predated you. So I'm asking that you, I guess, reach out to them to familiarize yourself with that relationship and get back to us so that we can answer those questions. Like when they build, when they read, and just.
Yes, the information is in the email, sir.
So they do have a reading schedule?
They have a fluctuating date for reading the meters. So every home doesn't have a scheduled date. A block may have a date. And so it's just like the mail delivery. Now, if we're going to renegotiate that contract and perhaps say that you're going to give them a reading date, that's something we can negotiate, but the bill date stays the same.
Okay, I guess that's a conversation we can have offline because
Mr. Mayor.
it's packed up in the email, so I don't see what you're talking about.
Okay.
Madam Commissioner.
Okay. 2 things. Earlier, the student that called in, you gave told Madam Clerk that we would be a part of it, but I wanted to make sure that the entire board, because you said we would to make sure that we're a part of it, but I wanted to make sure that the entire board had a say in that, and we didn't. Madam Clerk, is it possible when you do reach out to, was it Gonzalez? I can't remember his last name.
Daniel Nunez.
Nunez, thank you. Because I know their organization well, I would want to ensure that that student is a resident, because I do know that they randomly select students to be mayors for the day, and I would want to ensure that it's a resident that is the mayor of the day. So I think before we jump out and give our support for things, we need to just find out what everything that it entails. Secondly, I want to ask the manager a quick question. Typically, I don't, doing this prolongs commission meeting, but my question, is it possible so that we can bring someone from the county that can talk or answer these questions so that all our residents, and it's not that I don't, Ms. Mitchell or, that the back and forth, the conversations and the emails have been had, but I also know that for the city manager to spend that much time with someone for a water bill, when I do know there are a lot of residents that also have issues as well with water bills. I mean, that's pretty significant, but in and of itself, if I have a problem with FP&L, do I come up to commission meeting? Like if our water is no longer, and we know why it's no longer with our city, then why are we here talking about water bills if the bills are coming from Miami-Dade County? So I think I'm just, maybe if the county, a representative can come up, if you can reach out and then answer all those questions, and if maybe there's maybe we have to have a workshop. Also, lastly, Commissioner Kelly made the statement that we as a board to make a directive. I'm not making a directive. We'll put it in legislation. I don't believe in making directives. We can do legislation so that to revisit MOUs. I do think that is significant, but I'm not going to do a directive. Thank you.
Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you. Let me clarify since it was unclear. What I was saying to my colleague is the commission needs to do a directive. And for something like this, for information, the manager clearly understands we're trying to get it. But I also say that to put on the record, so when you see the legislation, it wouldn't be new to you, because I do plan to bring forth it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, and moving on, Mr. Dennis talked about his car, so Mr. Manager, you all can get with him, and how does that work, because I don't know. And Commissioner Dominguez, well, we'll discuss that when we get to the item, to the actual action item. Okay, so, we're going into item number 16A1, Madam Attorney.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-Locka, Florida, re-adopting a final millage rate pursuant to section 200.065 Florida statutes for fiscal year 2023 through 2024, commencing October 1, 2023 through September 30, 2024, setting forth public hearing dates, providing for adoption of representations, providing for repeal of all prior ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the interim city manager.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams, second by Vice Mayor. Mr. Manager, this is your item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is as it states, a redoing of the budget announcements and what we call trim notice. We have the budget director, Mr. Robert Anathan, here to explain and give some coverage and background and answer the questions that Mr. Dominguez had presented.
All right, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Mr. Anathan.
Is this working?
Mhm.
Can you hear me fine? Okay, perfect. Okay, the takeaways before we get into the presentation are, this is strictly an administrative procedure. There is no long-term financial impact to the city. The state is not asking us to change the budget. They don't expect us to change the budget. It's strictly administrative. Nothing will change. There will be no additional information provided to the residents, the community. It's just administrative, and I'll explain to you why. I'll even point out that this is something we have done for the past decade. Every year the state has approved it. This year we did the identical thing we've done for the past 10 years. They did not approve it because they changed the rules of the road. So very quickly, if presentation's up, I can take you through it. Next slide. Perfect. Thank you. The state, we submitted our paperwork after the September budget, and in November, the state came back and said, we disagree with your paperwork. We find two flaws with what you've done. First one is they said you did not use a 95% collection rate. And then they said also your ad was not appropriate. What they didn't say, but what they wanted us to do is, whereas we have a property tax revenue in our budget advertisement, and I'll explain the budget advertisement in a moment, they wanted a different number, and I'll explain that to you momentarily. The budget advertisement is what goes out in front of the second hearing in September. It went out. We'll look at it and you'll see what the issue is. Next slide, please. We had a timeline on this. What happened is, as you see on the screen or as your paperwork, The letter itself was dated on the 21st of November, which is 2 days before Thanksgiving. We didn't even know about it until the following Monday when we got an email from the state saying that this is you're going to see in the mail. We disagreed with it then. We just equally disagree with it now. We had multiple discussions with them about whether they were in error or not. Went on through the 27th and the 28th. And then as you see, I think they thought they were uncertain about their own grounds because they didn't respond to us for 2.5 weeks. If they felt we were really wrong, they would have come back right away. So it took them 2.5 weeks. That's December 14th on the slide that you're looking at now. Put in the December 12th, one of the things that they said is to cure this, you should post an ad within 15 days of receipt of this letter. For a city that passes their budget by resolution, that's easy to do. In our case, we would have had to post an ad at a commission meeting, post a second ad, and have it up within the 15 days. Given that we thought we were right, and given that we didn't hear anything from them for 2.5 weeks, we did not take that into consideration. So they came back on the 14 after 2.5 weeks silence, said, we've run it by our council and we understand what your argument is, but we still think you need to do what we have asked of you. Had additional discussions with them on that Friday and again Monday, because they said, hey, you violated the statute. We said, okay, show us in the statute where we violated. They never did come back on that. Finally, I made the recommendation to the city manager that we were going around in circles. It's just easier to get it done, put it behind us, keep on moving. Again, it has no financial implication. It's just a procedure that we have to go through. We were set to do it for the meeting on the 10th of January. I took a look at the agenda later on that week, saw that it was a very complicated agenda with 32 items, some of which were going to be very time consuming. I checked with the state and I said, what happens if we defer the first presentation of this correction of action on the 24th rather than the 10th? The answer was, makes no difference. The only metric they look at is the 15 days, and we'll discuss it at the moment. So they said, if you need to slide it, go ahead and do it. Made the recommendation to the city manager that given the complexity of the agenda on the 10th, it made a lot of sense not to add another thing. It was going to take up some time. As you remember, that agenda did take 4 hours, and this would have been another half hour on top of it. So we slid it, and that's why you're seeing tonight rather than the 10th. The state position was established on the 19th. I think it was the 19th. Yeah, December 19th. They said, okay, I had to go back to them and said, hey guys, you want us to use a format. What you're asking to do is impossible to do with the format you want us to use. Their answer was go develop your own format. So this was the letter that came back on the 19th. They said the dates you have proposed are acceptable. The format you're going to use is acceptable. You will get a minor infraction. Minor infraction has no financial implications whatsoever because you didn't post within the 15 days. So the whole subject boils around this advertisement. The purpose of this advertisement is to be transparent, to make to the residents, to the community, fully transparent how the city intends to spend their money. They took exception to the number that we have shown for the last decade, which I'm going to call the net ad valorem, net property tax number, highlighted in green, 13,700,000. So the reason that they came to that conclusion is they went up, they got the property tax base. This is the basic calculation of how you come up with a property tax for the city. As you can see, we start with our property tax base. We hit it with the millage rate, divide by 1,000, that's the side. We did in fact use the 95% collection rate, as you'll see there. And when you do it, you get gross property tax of $15,200,000. We have never reported that number. We have always reported the net property tax number down below, the difference being the TIF contribution that the city makes to the CRA each year. Again, this is what we've done every year. Every year it's been reviewed and they said you did exactly right. This year, different answer. So that's how we got to it. As soon as we got notification from the state, we sent this right back up to them. It took care of the first issue right away. It's gone. It dried up 15 minutes after we received the letter. So that what was left was, what do you do about the advertisement? We felt that given the format we were supposed to use, given the fact you could not find anywhere in the statute the requirement to use gross property tax revenue rather than net property tax revenue, given the fact that it was effective advertisement as it stood in terms of being transparent. The fact that we used a property tax that was based on the 95% collection rate, we felt they were wrong. And as I said, at that point, they were silent for 2.5 weeks. So I think they accepted our argument more or less, but they had to think about it for 2.5 weeks. At the end of the 2.5 weeks, they did come back. So at some point I made the recommendation to the manager that there was no sense, we're going around. We could resolve this thing. It was going to cost the city anything except running one more advertisement for $400 or $500. I made the recommendation, we proceed, he accepted it, and that's why we're here tonight. To correct the problem they had with the advertisement, we are required to re-advertise that particular, and I'll show you the new format in a moment. We're required to conduct a public hearing, which we did tonight. We're going to ask you to re-adopt the millage rate and budget. Again, they're not asking you to change it. They just expect that you're going to re-adopt what you did before. We've got it then. We'll have a second hearing on the 14th of February. Run through the same process again. Complete the paperwork, send it back up to the state, at which point I expect within the 2 weeks they'll release. They have deferred some revenue. At that point, I expect to be released. So the new ad, which contains numbers that you've never seen in the budget book, are the two numbers in brown: the gross property tax revenue, the $15,200,000, and the TIF contribution. This is what they want to see. This is what we will do henceforth for all future years. This is what we're going to advertise the Sunday before the hearing on the 14th of February. So at this point, I'm changing mode. This is what I need to share with you as part of the re-adoption of the millage rate. These are required by statute. They're self-explanatory, I think. Taxing authority, no surprise there. That would be us, the city of Opa-Locka. We are required to inform you and the public of the rollback rate. Again, just if you've lost track of what the rollback rate is the rate, if we use this year, would produce approximately the same revenue as we were able to achieve last year. We, in fact, did adopt the 9.3500 millage rate, which is 9.39% above the rollback rate. We also have to explain to you the usage of it. It has to do with additional public safety, continued upgrading of the vehicle fleet, the installation of ERP, and so forth. So that is what you're required to know in terms of adoption of the millage rate. Next slide, please. Again, what you're being asked to re-adopt tonight, again, the state is not looking for any change for it, is the 9.3500 mills that you adopted last September. And a reminder to pass, because there are tiers of approval. If you were to adopt a millage rate that is just about the rollback rate, all it would take would be a majority. Above that, it takes a supermajority, in that case, four votes to 1. And if it were really extreme rate, it would take a unanimous. In our case, we're in the zone of the required a 4-to-1 vote. And again, I'll just put this up, just a very brief reminder, as much as I think you want to go into, and I don't want to go into the budget tonight. This is the budget we adopted last September. And the only reason you've got a highlighted number there, just a reminder that total budget is 95 million, but really the city expenditure is slightly over $70 million. Everything above that is just money moving from one fund to the other. That completes my presentation. So I'm ready to answer any questions I may be able to.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Anderson. I have a couple questions and I brought these up in the agenda briefing because I was a little challenged by the timeline.
Yes, sir.
The timeline.
Yes, sir.
You told me that we received the letter in November 21st.
No, sir. I said the 27th. The letter was dated as of the
Okay, so
first.
we received it
We got
November.
it. We got it 6 days later.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so we missed the expiration date to cure it, which is 15 days later.
Yes, sir. And that
Okay,
was
and
done
then-
because we were convinced that because they had gone away, that our argument had prevailed, and they had, it shouldn't have taken them 17 days to come back if they were certain that they were right. The fact they didn't come back, we felt that they had really accepted our argument.
And then we also missed the appeal time period, which is
No, sir.
30 days.
No, sir. No,
Well,
we appealed on
According
the
to the
first
letter,
day.
we had 30 days to appeal.
We did appeal on the first day.
And then I also asked for documentation to show that the state said that there will be no penalty. And you
Yes,
said
sir.
that there was a
It's-
phone call and then I asked,
Yes, sir. I did show you that slide. Would you go back to slide 4, please?
no, that's what we wrote. But
No, sir, that's what they wrote.
the state said that there will be no penalty. If we do
This is from them. I paraphrase it because it was a little bit longer, but this is what it said. That was their position. They sent it to us. I can get you a copy verbatim if you'd like to see it, but basically that's what it said.
okay, and you know, my feelings on the taxes anyway, because the taxes increased for our residents.
Yes, sir. The millage rate was flat or a homestead. Yes, sir, they would go up slightly.
The taxes increased.
Yes, sir.
Which is what we just re-advertised in the new, well, what we're.
We
going to
haven't
advertise.
advertised it.
What we're, I'm saying, what we're going to
Yes, sir.
advertise. All right, so as of today, we're not in compliance with the trim at all. And you said we will get into compliance by next month.
The hearing we have on the 14th will put us back in. We will send the paperwork up to the state. As is what they said here, they will approve it, noting a minor violation, which has no implications other than just saying next time you shouldn't wait that long.
Okay, so my next question, 2 questions I asked this in the meeting. Why is this just now coming to the commission? I know you said that you all didn't agree with it, but even though you didn't agree with it, the commission should have been made aware. That's the first question. The second question is the tax office sends out letters to the residents saying that, hey, this is the taxes that you owe. Will that number change?
No, sir.
So what was given to the residents in mail is what's.
Yes, sir. Again, this is purely administrative. It has nothing to do with anybody's taxes changing, has nothing to do with us redoing our budget, has nothing to do with our redoing our millage rate. And again, this would have been presented to you on the 10th. I looked at the scope of the agenda and said this would be probably one bridge too far and made the recommendation that it be deferred. So we were going to bring it forward as soon as we realized the fact that, you know, we were not going to change their minds and just wanted to put it behind us.
Yeah, but even though your recommendation is that it was one bridge too far, it's a big bridge.
Yes, sir.
Because though you say that there will be no penalty, the letter says different. So I would have felt more comfortable if this information would have been brought to the commission prior to 3 months later. We're in another year and we voted on this last year.
And again, there's no penalties. We will not be penalized for it. There will be a deferral of revenue, which will be fully restored. I talked to the county deputy tax collector the other day on another subject. He said, hey, your money's just sitting here waiting for you to get this cleared up. So there is no.
And I also asked for that in writing because the letter says something completely different. But
could I ask what the letter says, sir?
Yeah, the letter talks about a penalty of what's going to happen if we don't comply. Florida Administrative Code to withhold revenue sharing fundings until the taxing authority corrects its non-compliance.
Yes, sir. Withhold until compliance is.
Yeah, but we missed the 15-day, which is what I also said, that we also missed the appeal date. So
No,
that's why I
sir,
say.
we appealed on the first day.
And I also asked you, did we appeal in writing? And it was said that we had a phone call. And I said, and I also asked the attorney to opine on this because of the statute. And that was done in my agenda briefing. And which she said she knew nothing about this.
No, sir, I'm aware of that. But again, there is no financial implication on this, as you just read yourself. It's going to be withheld until we comply. We are in the process of complying.
Yeah,
it was my recommendation to the manager that this was strictly an administrative thing, had no financial implications for the city. And on the basis of that, I think that's why you weren't advised.
That's not good enough for me, but you know how I feel about the taxes being increased anyway. So,
Mr. Mayor,
any questions from my colleagues?
I won't.
Kelly?
I won't go into all, but the mayor kind of addressed it. Let me just go straight to my concerns. You keep saying I recommend to the manager. I. The basic premise of this commission, fiduciary responsibility, is the budget. That's our primary concern, passing a budget that the manager, the attorney, the clerk works off of. It appears to me that somewhere within the management scope, you all decided what you're going to do. I won't go over the timeline that the mayor gave because I asked those in the briefing as well. What challenges me, see, when you close down City Hall, because the 21st, the letter went out. We didn't get it according to your notification from the state to the 27th because we were closed. So I'm assuming that's why we didn't get it. There's a reason when you close City Hall, we can't get anything. It says 27th, which was that Monday. You said the letter went out, the date of the letter was 21st. We didn't get notified from the state until the 27th, which is really like almost a week later. And then when you look at the other timelines that you gave, the 15-day cure period, 2.5 weeks of silence where you just assume they were trying to figure it out, you can't make that assumption to me. It should have been emailed, documented, whatever it's going to be. And as I said in my briefing, it's ironic that the state has already approved this, sent us an email saying that they have no problem with the proposed advertising dates and et cetera. But yet we send other stuff up there. We got to wait forever to get a approval and okay. So I have a challenge with the whole process. And then the other thing I have is the discussion with the state that the mayor just outlined. So I won't go over all the dates. We get an approval from the state oversight, I would assume, on the 19th. That's the email you're referencing, correct?
Yes, sir. It's not the oversight, it's Department of Revenue.
Okay, so it says state. So that was my question. Which one is state revenue? Which one is state oversight?
This is Department of Revenue.
This is revenue.
sir. Yes, sir.
I'm glad you said that. So we got that from revenue. So then we knew, number one, that we were out of compliance, but nothing was said to the commission. Nothing was said to the commission
Yes, sir.
that we are behind, that we got to redo this. You indicated in your commentary, you decided to recommend to the manager that we hold off until the 24th meeting because the agenda was long for the 10th. And that
Yes, sir.
there's no penalty, there's no
Exactly.
anything.
Exactly.
I would beg to differ. It should have been brought to the commission and let the commission make a decision. Because even though you're saying there's no penalty, those funds are being withheld. They're being withheld. And based on the timeline, and according to your statement to me in the briefing, we're not going to get those funds released until probably March 1st. Now, the fortunate part is we got money in the bank, you know, and so that's good. But yeah, it is a penalty because those are dollars that could be in the city's coffers. Like most city get their early ad valorem, which you've mentioned many times, comes in when? December?
Yes, sir.
And
December,
January.
November, December, and January.
Correct.
But
Well, ours are sitting there because of this right here. So there is an impact to me because of the timeline. It should have been brought forward. Soon as it occurred, it should have been brought to the commission to decide how we want to move forward. It wasn't. It was decided administratively to wait to the 24th to bring it, and now to the 14th for a second reading to hopefully will pass, and then March 1st, according to your timeline, the money will be released, correct?
That's my estimate.
So that means, and here's why I have a challenge, because if we were sick, heaven forbid, 3 of us up here were hurt and couldn't meet, we would be in a limbo, wouldn't we?
You'd have to have a special meeting at some point to get a quorum. Yes, sir.
But if we can't make it, we can't get it done. That's the point I'm making.
Yes, sir.
So you made an administrative decision to me that should have been made. That should have been brought to the commission, Mr. Manager, even though I'm looking at you, because the manager makes the final call. And let the commission decide, here's where we're at. Here's we believe there's no challenge. Here's even why we believe we want to bring it on the 24th because the agenda is long. Let the commission should have made a decision.
Yes, sir. That was my error in judgment. I agree.
I can only deal with the manager. You work for him. So I'm looking at you when I'm talking to the manager because that's something that the commission should have done. Now, my next question is the money that is being held, deferred, no penalty. How much money is that?
I suspect it's probably about 10% of the property tax revenue. It would be probably $700,000 to $800,000. The good news is when the county holds our money, they pay, we earn interest on it.
But we want our own money, not nobody else holding it.
Yes, sir.
That's the challenge I have. To me, staff doesn't get to make those kinds of decisions. They should come to the commission to make a decision. We may agree with you. We may agree with you, but I have challenges on the timelines. That's number one. And then the decision to go back and forth, 2.5 weeks of silence, additional discussion with the state revenue, and then all of a sudden things kind of pick up the pace. To me, this should have been on the agenda. I don't care how long the agenda was, December, January 10th. It should have been, no, even if we took it out of order.
Again, my error in judgment. I agree with you.
So I'm very concerned with those timelines with that because seems to be a pattern. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for your explanation, sir.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Manager or Mr. Anathan?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Williams?
quick question. Mr. Anathan, I think I'm trying to figure out on page 9, I thought you said in brown, excuse me, my throat. I thought you said the two in brown, this is what's going to be released on page 9.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'm looking at about am I looking at this in millions?
Yes, ma'am.
14 million?
Yes, ma'am.
But you
No.
just said
No,
700,000.
the question
So I'm
was
a little
what
bit-
was held back? They're
But-
not holding the whole thing. What
Okay.
this ad is,
Mhm.
assume if this ad doesn't know anything about the holdback, could care less. The question was asked was how much of the property tax we'd normally get over the next month or two was being held back, and it's approximately 10%, which is not related to those numbers.
I don't think that was the question though.
Well, then I stand
I
corrected.
don't
and
know.
I
I
asked,
thought
hope
the
the question
question,
re-asked.
If we don't,
I thought the question was when we talked about a penalty, we talked about the money that was being held back. Now, if it was property tax, okay, I didn't hear property tax. If that was what was said,
That's-
Commissioner Kelly, is that what you said?
Commissioner, there are several questions that I asked, one of which
Oh, no,
was,
I didn't.
I'm sorry.
I was just asking, did you say property tax in that particular, when you were
No, I
speaking?
said how much is being held back and, you know, from what I'm understanding, it's ad valorem property taxes, but I said how much is being held back, period. And he said it's 7.
That's what I
5
thought.
to
Okay.
700,000 is being held
Right.
back
But-
until probably around March 1st. Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if 700,000 is being held back, but then on page 9, 14 million will be released. My numbers are off. I'm
No, ma'am.
confused.
What,
Am I
what,
seeing something different?
well, I obviously did not communicate well. What that page is showing you is this is the ad they would have liked to have seen in September. We've never done it that way before. The only things that are going to change is instead of just showing the property tax that remains with the city and used to fund the various programs, they now want us to add in what the total property tax we got before we made a contribution to the CRA.
okay, Ms. Anathan, that's not what she's
But
asking.
that's not-
Commissioner Williams,
Okay.
you get an early payment on your taxes, which is 10%. So we would have gotten that had this been done right. And we don't cure it now, we won't get anything. That's that. So Commissioner Williams is right. So the 14 million that you see, we won't get it until we fix it.
Until we, okay,
Until we
that,
fix it.
I guess
That's
that's,
what
No,
she's
we're
trying to
getting
add.
we're getting most of that as we speak. We're getting most of that as we speak. We are getting 90% of what we would normally get.
Did you get payment yet, Mr. Anathan?
We have been receiving property tax from.
So
first
we
day ago.
received it?
Yes, sir. We get it. We get every 2 weeks, we get payment from the county of property tax revenue. At some point when this kicked in, they said, okay, instead of giving you 100% of what you're going to get for those 2 weeks, we're going to give you 90%. We're going to hold the other 10% on the side till you cure this. Then we will give you a lump sum payment of everything we've held aside for you.
okay,
So what they're withholding is the 10%.
10% of the
Yes, sir.
14 million, correct?
10%
I'm
of,
rounding up.
if we didn't do anything about it, it would be 10% of the full 13 million.
Okay,
We are certainly going to cure it in the next 30 days. So at that point, when you look at the financial results at the end of the year, you're never going to see this. It's as though it never occurred.
and then I wanted to go back to, bear with me. On page 4, it says this will be noted in compliance letter as a minor infraction.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
What does that mean in your opinion?
It means, wish you hadn't done that. There's no financial penalty associated with that. Just point out you were not 100% with what we asked you to do.
Okay.
There's no
I
financial.
think the wording infraction makes me think that there will be a penalty. And I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, I think that word minor infraction is almost like I got a ticket for a minor infraction, right? So like, I'm gonna have to pay something, or I've done something wrong and I have a penalty that I need to pay back.
Yeah.
So I think that's, to me, that wording makes me think
That's their language, ma'am.
that's,
But as the mayor read, being withheld until we're in compliance. So,
okay.
you know, certainly feel free to interpret as you will. But again, it's just they're doing a holdback until we go through the process.
And I guess I don't want us to come back in a month, 2, 3, and then, oops, there is some type of infraction or some type
No,
of
ma'am.
penalty. Okay,
Again.
we're gonna hold you to it.
And I
now-
plan to be held to. I've been doing this for 20 years. This is the first time. And again, they changed the rules of the road this year after what we had done for a decade.
And not to beat a dead horse, because I don't want to do that, but I did say in my agenda briefing, and I want to, say it, put it on record. It really should have come to the commission.
Understood.
It really should have.
It was my error.
I think what we have to start doing is understanding that, that we have to know everything so that we can catch these issues ahead of time. And so now it feels as if we are, being placed something on our laps that we need to fix. But the 5 of us, don't need to fix anything because we didn't know that something needed to be fixed.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think, there's that communication word again, that we have to do better in involving and ensuring that we as a board know what's going on, just so that it doesn't look as if something is being hidden underneath and now it's being exposed. And I'm not trying to put that out to say it, but I'm just saying it could kind of look that way. So I think moving forward, we need to just ensure that the board knows
Yes, ma'am.
the good, the bad, and the indifferent, so that we all can speak one language.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Great. Yes, ma'am.
All right, any other discussion on this item? All right, Madam Clerk, we can call the question.
Commissioner Kelly,
No.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass. Yes. Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
No.
Motion passes 3-2. I do have a question, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure pursuant to Florida statutes, and maybe Mr. Anathan or the city attorney can clarify if this requires at least a 4 affirmative votes on this ordinance.
Well, I'm not changing my vote.
No, I'm not asking you to,
I
but
didn't-
I
I'm
did
not
say
supporting the
motion
increase in tax.
passed, so I just
Oh.
want to make sure.
Increase of tax, I'm not supporting that.
But
So-
we-
As the
But we
city
didn't-
clerk just said,
I don't think
I thought
anybody
I'd point
asked.
out, if I did not point it out, this vote will require 4-1 or we don't have the millage rate.
Mr. Mayor,
Madam Attorney,
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Kelly.
See, this is what I harp on it all the time. We're put in this position, as my colleague just said, it's put in our lap. So we don't pass it, we can't move forward. Just like if 3 of us hadn't been here tonight, or 2 of us hadn't been here tonight, it wouldn't, even if the 3 supported, it couldn't win anywhere because it needs 4 votes. We're always put in this position that we shouldn't be in. We shouldn't be in. And I don't need to hear any more commentary about anything because this is too often occurring. Not just with this budget, but as always, we got to pass it. We got to do it now. Otherwise, we're going to lose the funding. We're going to miss the deadline. Here we are again at the same point. If this had been brought to us January the 10th, then the money might have been released a little earlier if it passed, or you had more time. Now we're here. You just heard Mr. Anthem say it's 10% of whatever, 700,000 they're holding, but we need 4 votes now to do it. Otherwise, we have no millage rate, which means everything that's been sent out to the residents, Mr. Mayor, that you indicated, now becomes a moot point because it's not accurate. Because it's sent out.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
1 second. Commissioner Kelly, you have the floor.
You had something to add to what I should say?
I just want to reiterate, the state's expectation is that you'll repeat your vote from last fall. They do not expect anybody to change their vote. You certainly have the option to do it. It's not the state expectation that you would. Again.
You know what? I really Appreciate you, Ms. Anthony. It's not my expectation to be here tonight looking at this with the time frame lapse that should have been done on January 10th. That wasn't my expectation, but you decided, according to your own words, to recommend to the manager not to put it on. So that's why we're here.
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate your commentary. They appreciate the fact they didn't think it would change. Well, I have some real pause because of this process. And I did support it before. And the mayor didn't, and I know he's make his position clear, but I did support it grudgingly. But seeing this gives me even more concern. But guess who we are now? If we don't do this, we don't have a budget. So what those folks that may want to pay their taxes in advance to take advantage of the penalty and all of that, Opa-Locka doesn't have a millage rate. Opa-Locka can't go forward with anything until this is done. That's basically where we're at.
Sir.
See? So we're handcuffed. So here we are. 3-2 needs 4-1 at least.
Sir.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner.
Okay. Let me do this. We'll live another day. To Mr. Mayor, to the attorney.
1 second, Commissioner Kelly. Commissioner Williams.
Mr. Anthony, real quick. Maybe I need to understand something. Mayor Taylor made a statement about taxes being raised. Is that happening?
Ma'am, what happens is we had a flat millage rate from last year to this year at 9.350. If anybody's value assessment went up, or not if the valuation of their property went up, they probably had a tax increase. Yes, ma'am. Millage rate stays the same against whatever their assessed value is this year versus last year. If your assessed value went up, you had a small tax increase. Yes.
Okay. Well, we know, well, I'm sure values did go up, right? So, but the millage rates did stay the same from
Yes,
what we passed in September, correct?
And it stayed the same from what was a year ago as
A
well.
year ago.
Yes, ma'am.
So if we do not pass this, what are the implications? And I get it. I understand. I hear I hear both sides. I totally agree. And I'm put it on record that it was handled poorly. But on the flip side, I need to know what are the pros and the cons?
I would say that if you choose not to pass it, therefore we cannot go back to the state and say we have repassed it. And we will probably, if we let it run for the rest of the year, we will lose 10% of our property tax revenue. That would be that's my first guess.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Kelly.
When we get information and commentary, we have to be very cautious of the wording. Mr. Anthony just answered a question from my colleague. That's what he believes his guess would be. And he used the word, that's probably what he believes will happen. We don't know what will happen because we don't know what they would actually do. Correct, Mr. Manager? Or Mr. Anthony, because you made the statement, the manager didn't make it, you made it. In response to their statement, if we don't do it, if we don't pass it, you believe we'll lose just 10%.
I believe the governing language says that we will withhold this money until such time that you're in compliance. If we choose not to be in compliance, I believe, I'm all but certain they'll say, fine, you'll do without your 10% revenue, 10% property tax.
Which would be
It's more than just a guess. I'm reading the language that the mayor read amongst other people.
so we would lose $700,000-800,000.
No, because you'd lose, well, probably the better part of 13 million. It'd probably be closer to $1 million, I would say.
That's the point I wanted to get to.
Yeah,
It'd actually be more.
Well,
We'd
yeah,
actually
if you
lose
let
more.
it
If we don't
run,
do anything, it's actually more
that's
money.
exactly my point.
That's
Yes,
just
sir.
what I wanted to get. See, when you make these statements about a guess and lose a little more, 10%, it's actually probably more like $1 million or
If-
more. And
if-
I'm not a finance,
if-
person.
Agreed. If you choose to do nothing about this, yes, sir, I would agree with you.
Okay. Not to mention looking bad to the state that we passed one and didn't pass it again. Mr. Mayor, I was wanting to ask the attorney, I think you said 4-1. We've got to move forward. we're at a point now, we gotta have something, because this just doesn't impact that tax. That impacts a whole lot of things when you don't have a budget. And if you don't pass this, you're not gonna get to 2 and 3 properly either. Is that a fair statement? Mr. Mayor, to Manager, to Mr. Hampton, since he's answering the questions.
Reference to 2 and 3.
Well, if we don't pass number 1,
Oh, yeah.
then we're gonna have challenges with 2 and 3
Well,
because they
2
become a moot point,
2 is a moot point. 3 would not be a moot point.
which, pardon me?
3 would not be moot. We would still have a budget. We would have to do a further budget amendment to take out $1 million of property tax.
That's what I'm getting at. It has an impact. 2 and 3 they would be impacted.
2
if
would-
you don't do
2 is
one.
off the table.
Right.
Well,
And 3 would be adjustments downward of $1 million.
well, 3 we would do now, and then we'd have to come back with the impact of taking $1 million out of property tax revenue. Yes, sir.
So, yeah, thank you. And that's what I mean. All those scenarios are not, that they're not good for the city, but we're in this position. Yeah, I love my city. Yeah, I do. Madam Attorney, to correct the deal, it was 3-2 on the prevailing side. How do we get a reconsideration?
Someone on the prevailing side would bring up the motion again, and you can revote it for reconsideration.
Okay, so I'll bring the motion up again. Do I need to make a motion or?
Yes, for reconsideration of the item.
Um, this isn't pretty, but this is where we are. Through the mayor, I would like to make a motion to reconsider and bring this item up for a revote.
Right, motion was made by Commissioner Williams to bring item for revote. Can I get a second on her motion?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor. Madam Attorney?
Now you will have any discussion, if any, and if not, you will vote on the item for reconsideration, and then you'll go back to the main motion or back to the item.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner
Mayor.
Kelly?
Thank you. I ask for reconsideration because the only way we can get it back on the table and the only way we're going to move forward. I'm going to say to the manager, because Mr. Hampton works for him, as long as I'm sitting up here, when these kind of things happen, I hope we never see it again where we're put in a position where things fall in our lap that we have to just deal with. And this is the biggest one. The budget is the biggest one. The rest of them may seem small, but if you even think they're minute, bring it to the commission. This is as big as it gets. But if we don't have a budget, we really are in no man's land. So I ask for the reconsideration. I'm going to support the 9-point grudgingly, but I'm going to support it because we have to move the city forward, and we can't do anything if we don't deal with it. So that's all I have to say on that. So on the reconsideration, I would support it and then support the motion. So, Mr. Mayor, you can guide us through the process.
Thank you, Commissioner Kelly. So the motion was made by Commissioner Williams, seconded by Vice Mayor. So we're gonna vote on the actual reconsideration motion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
I will support the reconsideration, but will not support the item. So yes.
Motion to reconsider passes 5-0.
All right, and we can go ahead and vote on the actual question. You need another motion or what?
Yeah, wait.
Okay, can I
Yes,
get a
sir.
motion? Can I get a motion?
I'll move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass,
Second.
second by Commissioner Williams. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
No.
Motion passes 4-1.
All right, moving on to item 16A2.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-Locka, Florida, approving and readopting the city's general proprietary and special funds budget for the fiscal year 2023 through 2024, commencing October 1, 2023 through September 30, 2024, providing for expenditure of funds established by the budget, authorizing the city manager to take certain actions, providing for appropriation of all budget expenditures, providing for fees consistent with appropriation and amendment, providing for adoption of representations, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the interim city manager.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by by Vice Mayor Irvin.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Williams. Mr. Manager?
Thank you. This is a companion item to 16A1, and we have the Budget Administrator, Mr. Robert Anderson, available to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Mr. Anderson? Any questions from Mr. Manager or Mr. Anderson on this item?
I have nothing further to present, but I stand ready to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. All right. We can go ahead and call the question.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bad,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
No.
Motion passes 4-1.
All right, next item.
An
Yeah.
ordinance
Go ahead.
16A3, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-Locka, Florida, amending the annual adopted general proprietary and special revenue funds budgets for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2023, and ending September 30, 2024, adjusting revenues and expenditures as reflected in Exhibit A, providing for the expenditure of funds established by the budget, authorizing the city manager to take certain actions, providing for appropriation of all budgets and expenditures, providing for fees consistent with appropriations and amendment, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the interim city manager.
All right, can I get a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a budget amendment that was required due to some expenditures that were in December. And we have the Budget Administrator, Mr. Robert Anderson, available should you have any questions.
Okay, this is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Any questions on this item for Mr. Anderson? Oh, well, yeah, Mr. Anderson, go ahead. You can do it, Richard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very quickly, this is a very quick budget amendment, as you will see. Bottom line, we've added $2,600 to a $70 million budget. You can see the revenue at the top. You see 1.7 million. About 1.45 of that is revenue or loans that we anticipated to get last year related to reimbursements. Projects didn't get done, so we pulled the revenue into this year. In addition, the remaining portion of that revenue is $233,000 of interest income. You can see next number down, essentially all that went into fund balance because there's no immediate use for it. Consequently, we had $2,615 to cover. Next slide, please. You can see the derivation of the 2,615. We did expend various items. I've given you a list ranked in terms of magnitude. The most expensive one is bringing in phase 1 of the Burlington Canal, which is a carryover from last year. If I can take your attention down to the savings number, you can see a total of 888,000. 750,000 of that is taking out phase 2 of Burlington Canal because that's not going to happen this year. In addition to the savings of 750,000, there was another $75,000 of savings related to the red light cameras because that installation is going in more slowly than was anticipated. In terms of other projects that we're spending money on, the only other thing I will bring to your attention at this point is the second item for HR Director Services, total of $140,000 between now and September 30th. I didn't plan to go through any of the others, but rather we'll stand ready for any questions you may have.
All right, do we have any questions for Mr. Anderson or the manager on this item? All right, hearing none.
Mayor,
Oh, Commissioner Kelly?
I had a couple of questions I asked in the briefing that I still need to get clarity on. Well, really more so to make a statement. We seem to still propose things that we're doing for various items, have to come back and add more money to the line item because of our projections not being really accurate. And I see that in several of these amendments that keep coming up over and over. At some point, we got to figure out a way to accurately propose what we think something's going to cost. Given that when it goes out and many times come back in, the market and the business community have totally different different numbers. So we got to do a better job of that. I did also ask about the operational assessment for code, which I didn't get a clarity on, and also regarding the municipal complex services. I did get answer, but not further clarity that I'd asked for. So if I can just get those in writing, I won't belabor the time. Just give it to me in an email. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr.
All right, no problem. Any other questions for Mr. Anderson? Okay, Madam Clerk, we can call the question.
Commissioner Kelly. Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0 first reading.
All right, as we get ready to go into our city manager's report. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we as the administration want to acknowledge your concerns that we've heard tonight about postponing the item, and we will address that internally. Thank you.
Okay. And also, Mr. Manager, the report on Glorietta Gardens.
Yes, so we don't have any current updates on Glorietta Gardens at this time. The state, we believe that the county, or I've heard that the county has filed suit against Glorietta Gardens, and HUD is in the process of doing some re-inspections. That's all the information that we have at this time.
Okay, any questions for the manager? All right. As we go on, move on to item 18, official board reports. I don't see any. We can go through the mayor and commission report. We can start right to left. Commissioner Kelly, you can start. No report. Vice Mayor?
I don't have one either.
Okay. Commissioner Bass?
No, neither do I.
Neither do you. And Commissioner Williams?
No, I don't.
Okay, so Mr. Manager, under my report is the financial oversight.
Yes, sir. So we are continued to engage. We are on track. We believe to be, our deadline is, as stated previously, is March 1st, as we did receive that communication from JLAG. We do have our monthly calls. We have not had a call with JLAG this month yet, but we are on track, we believe, to have it completed 30 days ahead of schedule, hopefully by February 1st, if we don't face any delays.
Okay. Right, February 1st. I'm gonna be saying that last meeting. Okay, great job.
Thank you.
And the HR director asked to do a report as well. Madam Director? Good evening.
Thank you. As I've submitted my report to you all, I'd like to review it. Starting with the prior schedule of recruiting, we reviewed in a one-on-one meeting with each of you all. And I've requested that timeline be extended, and we discussed why. Primarily, it's because we went from 35 applicants on January 10th, when I submitted my report, to 98 applicants at the 5 p.m. close of the job posting, January 15th. So since then, we've not accepted any additional applicants, but we do have 98 that I need to address. So I proposed the following, and this is the document in front of you, along with the list of the 98 applicants attached. Between January 16th and January 29th, I would review the 98 applicants and distribute. I'd like for you all to see all of the applicants, but I would, as we stated before, put them in order of how they've qualified based on how they presented in their resume and their documentation versus the need listed in the job posting. And that would be a total of 3 separate sets of documents to you. One will be a set that that have not qualified, but I want you to be aware of who those are. One will meet minimum qualifications and the other one will meet and or exceed qualifications. And that I propose to present to you on or by the 30th, and between the 30th of January and February 19th, 15 days, the commission will, as follows, hold a special commission meeting to submit 3 shortlisted applicants, start the background check, which I would do of the 3 applicants, and receive the finalist's name to draft a written job offer. This schedule adds 10 additional business days to the schedule I previously proposed. Although this closes out the document that I've already forwarded to you, I did this week receive an additional acknowledgement I just want to make you aware of. I've received an open records request regarding the city manager's job opening. And I'm working to address that request and get it closed as soon as possible.
Okay,
I'm ready for any questions, please.
any questions for Ms. Adams? All right, hearing none. Madam, you said that you spoke to each one of us. Do we need to make a new motion to adopt Madam Attorney, to adopt the new timeline?
I would suggest that you do that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so, can I get a motion to, well, I'm sorry, is the commission okay with the timeline? I should start with that. Okay,
I'm okay with it.
so,
I'm okay.
all right, so can I get a motion to adopt the new timeline?
Make a motion to adopt the new
Okay,
timeline.
motion was made by Commissioner Williams.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes,
Motion passes 5-0.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Commission.
No problem. Also on my report, 2 quick things. I'm done, thank you. 2 quick things. One is, Mr. Manager, I just want to put on your radar the scholarship that we do every year. I just want us to be proactive this year and get it out early, because a lot of residents say they don't know about it. They didn't know about it. So that's the first one. And the other thing I want to discuss in the interest of the commission as well as our employees, I wanted to propose moving next month's commission meeting from the 14th, which is Valentine's Day, to either the 12th or the 13th. So that was the second item, because I want to be respectful to everybody and their families and loved ones. So I just need,
I couldn't be on the 15th.
you said the 15th?
I said, well, I couldn't be on the 15th.
Oh, I don't know.
I like the 15th.
The 15th works better for me. Yeah, I'm cool.
Then the 15th it is.
Yeah, I gave up meeting Monday already once. I don't want.
Oh, yeah. So
And plus, yeah, the 15th works better.
the 15th works better for, Commissioner Williams,
Oh, no, I said that was fine.
Commissioner Bass,
15th, fine.
15 and
15.
15, and Commissioner Keller said 15. All right, so Madam Attorney, I'm gonna make a motion to move the regular scheduled commission meeting on February 14th to February 15th.
I see it.
Seconded by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk,
Madam,
Commissioner Keller.
Madam, sorry, Mr. Mayor, just a point of clarification, because the advertisement has not went out yet for the meeting, have it? Because I kept hearing 14th. So it hasn't went out yet. Okay, so it can be done for the 15th.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Just want to be clear. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Commissioner, I'm sorry. Yeah, you got me messed up. Madam Clerk, sorry.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Taylor.
Yes,
Motion passes 5-0.
okay,
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Williams?
I know, I didn't have anything for my report, but I would like to ask, if you can provide us, the board, with a report from Tallahassee, from your trip when you went, if you can provide the board what was stated, what was said to you, not just to the manager, but just to you, so that we know, if you don't mind, the next commission meeting.
I don't mind at all.
Thank you.
Board will report from Tallahassee. Okay. All right. Okay, no problem. Now we're going to our official board appointments. Do we have any appointments to be made on tonight?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Bass?
I would like to appoint Alex Benico as charter review.
Okay,
Are we doing this tonight? Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Williams?
I would like to appoint Ms. Janie Russell.
Okay. So we're gonna try to review. All right, any other appointments? Want to get it up and running. So, Madam Clerk, I'll do Nikisha Williams. Any other appointments for tonight? Okay. We're moving on. All right, so I just want to thank you all for hanging out with us on tonight. I want to invite you all out to our State of the City, which will take place next week, Wednesday. Our reception starts at 6 p.m. and the program to be started promptly at 7. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor, second by Commissioner Williams. This meeting is adjourned. Have a great night.